Good morning, everybody. If you're already in the room, which I can see there are quite a few attendees already, we're going to be starting around 9 o'clock. As the hosts will be and panelists will be muting ourselves until we feel like everybody's arrived. So that'll probably be sometime around 9 or 9:02. And in the meantime, we're looking forward to speaking with you and talking about social media. Good morning, everyone. It looks like we still have some people showing up, so we're just going to wait another couple minutes here, and then we will get started. I imagine before 9:05.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our session on social media basics for small business. As many of you know, we launched this initiative well before we knew that there would be any cancellations to regular service delivery. And as such, it was mainly focused on businesses that were operating in and around and within the Blue Mountains. With the situation everybody in business is facing, we've actually realized that by opening this up online, it's enabled many other businesses to join. And we'd like to welcome all of you now to this session. We're doing as many things as we can within the confines of the Small Business Enterprise Center to continue to provide support for small businesses in any stage of growth and development with their operations through training. And this series of webinars and online services have been designed really to help keep air in the balloon, keep businesses moving as best they can in these times of uncertainty. So with that, I would encourage you to keep an eye on our website events page for other events and workshops and seminars that we're running using digital platforms now. There's a great number of them coming up, and we hope that they're useful for you. We'd also very much like to thank the team at Canopy Media, who will be taking it away momentarily. So Kai and Julie are extremely experienced in this field. I believe, and they'll allude to this more in a couple of moments, that the focus of this session is really social media basics for small business, without any specific twists and concerns and bumps in the road. But of course, we will acknowledge the current situation and do our best to provide support in that regard as well. So I'd like now to hand over to Kai and Julie and thank them again very much for being as nimble as they have been to redirect their services and take this online. And we're all in this together. We're learning new technologies. We're learning new ways of doing things. So guys, I'll hand over to you. Thanks again very much for doing this.
Thanks, Tim. Good morning, everyone. This is different than how we usually do things. Julie and I love to present in person. We really love that social interaction, but everybody's learning and everybody's adapting and everybody's evolving, and that's actually part of what we're doing today as well. So everybody can imagine this as just being another opportunity to kind of figure out a different way to do things, to learn things, and to grow in your business.
Yep. Thank you so much, everyone, for making time to come this morning and attend our webinar, and bear with us as we work through this. It's the first time that we've delivered this via Zoom. And so, some things have had to be adapted for this virtual experience, but we hope that we'll be able to provide some value to you and your business. So without further ado, we'll get started. As Tim mentioned, Kai and I are with Canopy Media. We are based out of Collingwood, and we do all things digital marketing. So digital marketing firm, and we specialize in generating leads and sales through the internet, being your website. And we are part of WSI, which is the largest and most successful internet marketing company in the world. And we consistently deliver a really high ROI for our clients. We're also a premier Google partner. And one of the services that we offer to our clients is social media management, which is where I come in as the social media manager for Canopy Media. Which leads me to a brief introduction about myself. That's me.
Can I take this one?
Sure, go
ahead. All right, this is Julie. She's been in digital marketing for 14 years, way before it was even called digital marketing. Julie worked for Blue Mountain for a long time, for 11 years, and established, if it's Blue Mountain today, Julie probably set it up. And it's not just 3 or 4 channels, it's 3 or 4 channels or 3 or 4 platforms per channel within Blue Mountain. So at the end of her tenure there, that was a significant amount of channels to be managing. Julie has 2 kids, loves to drink coffee and listen to live music.
I don't know if you can see, I've got my massive coffee mug right here. And I lovingly refer to my children as coworkers during these weird times. Hopefully we won't have any interruptions from my coworkers. Kai is the owner of Canopy Media, co-owner, and he's been in media and communications since the early 2000s, digital marketer for over 10 years, worked in journalism as a news editor, and ultimately Kai's mission with Canopy Media that I've experienced as working with him and have seen firsthand with the work that he delivers to his clients is to enhance their lives and families through digital marketing. And as you can see, Kai is father to 3 really cute children, also called his coworkers.
It's a big team around here right now.
Yeah, all hands on deck. All right, so without further ado, let's continue. As we mentioned, today's presentation is running through Zoom, and given the current landscape and situation that's probably impacting most, if not all of your businesses, we understand that you'll have questions about how to manage things during this crisis, which we will open the floor for discussion at the end of our presentation. But it's important to note that we are not a crisis communications firm. So our advice on messaging and managing things during a crisis, which I think we can all safely say this is not our specialty per se, but we can offer advice and some best practices on what we have seen and some of the strategies that we've used with our clients. We are human beings. We've worked with a broad spectrum of companies in a number of different verticals, and all of them are affected by these challenges. So we're happy to offer our opinion, but ultimately you need to do what's best for your business and your customers, which you are the expert of. This presentation will be recorded. So I think I saw a question pop up in the chat at the start. Yes, it will be recorded. So don't worry about taking notes or anything like that. Just enjoy, sit back, relax, have a cup of coffee, and we'll learn together. So yeah, like we said, we'll follow up, or Tim will likely follow up with a copy of this presentation at the end of this workshop. There is some interactive elements, which we've had to modify slightly due to the nature of this virtual webinar, but we hope that you'll enjoy that, and we invite you to take part. It's not school, we're not putting anyone on the spot, but we encourage participation. So jump in the chat if you have questions. Kai will be monitoring that throughout the presentation. And like I said, at the end, we'll be opening the floor for questions and discussion. We hope that we can provide some takeaways for each of you. Social media is such a broad topic that it's impossible for us to tailor this to everybody's needs. Everybody's on a different part of their journey with regards to social media marketing and using social media as a tool to promote your business and support your business. So our advice and tips today are, as the title of the presentation is called, our basics. But we're happy to take conversations offline later and answer specific questions that you may have with regards to your business. Okay, so disclaimer, we don't know everything. Who does? You may have questions. We hope to have an answer. Most cases we will. But if we don't know the answer, we'll get back to you. Let us know. We are learning always, as this is an ever evolving landscape, both within the economy and the nature of social media. So for our first little interactive activity, we're going to ask everybody if you have a mobile device, assuming that you're watching this webinar on your laptop, jump on your mobile device and go to menti.com. This is an interactive Q&A platform that we'll be using throughout the course of this presentation. This is where we alluded to some of the interactive elements of this webinar. So if you can jump into Menti, you should see a question. So let me just open up my Menti, and you're going to be asked for a code when you get into Menti. So the code that you're going to enter is 176856. I see that there's a few of you in here so far, which is great. Okay. So go ahead and answer this question. You should see the question on your phone. It's, what is your favorite sports team? Easy question.
It's really important to note this is 100% anonymous.
Yes.
And,
Thank you.
Let's keep it appropriate, but write whatever you like.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not watching our favorite sports teams right now, but
yeah.
Alas.
This is easy to do, I promise. Menti.com 176856. Looks like we've got a good amount of people in here. Excellent. Yeah. So we can use this tool to see where everybody's at.
Flamengo, Brazilian soccer team. Nice.
Okay.
Lots of Maple Leafs fans in the house. Okay. I remember
fans
called the Leafs. Yeah. The Canadians. Ooh. Okay. All right. That was a nice, easy softball or soft lob question to start us off. Okay, I think if we've collected all the answers, as you can see, this is a nice way you can use a tool like this in your own presentations if you're doing something virtually similar to what we're doing. Menti.com, as Kai mentioned, or Mentimeter if you're running the questionnaire. I'm going to jump to the next question in here, and as you can see, my favorite place to go locally is, and this is during under normal circumstances. Right now, a little different. Nice.
Good. A lot of riders here. Or outdoorsy folks.
Trails. Yep. Cedar and
you can submit more than once. Did you know that, Julie? I didn't.
Oh, yeah. Crowbar. Good one. Waterfront. Lots of that. Pretty River. Bruce Wine Bar.
Good grief.
Gibson's. Yep. I miss Gibson's. I'm in Collingwood, so that's one of my local spots.
Again, if you're just joining us today, I can see some new people arriving. We're at menti.com. And if you just go there and enter the code 176856, you can play along with us.
Moguls, okay. Been there. Hiking, lots of hiking. We're very fortunate to live where we do and have access to so many trails, such a great network of trails. Okay, I think all the answers have trickled in, which is great. As Kai mentioned, if you're just joining us, go to menti.com on your mobile device or in a browser and enter the code 176856. And this is just an anonymous interactive element that we'll be using throughout the course of the presentation. Okay, so back to business. Tell us how much you know about social media as a marketing tool. You're a pro at managing your social channels. You've dabbled but could do better. used it personally, but not for business, or absolutely nothing. And again, this is just to get a bit of a pulse check on where people are at.
Interesting. I'm noticing there's no pros,
That's okay.
right? Which makes
Oh,
sense.
one, there we go.
Right on.
Awesome.
We've got a lot of people who use it for their personal life, but not for business.
Mm-hmm.
One, absolutely nothing. Welcome. We hope you could learn something today.
Yes.
I always like to say, Julie, that we're just trying to find 2 or 3 key takeaways today. That's it. You're going to know a lot of the stuff that we present to you, and you're going to just try and look for a couple of wins that can make your business better.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep. So even for
Right
those
on.
pros, those 2 pros there, my goal is that you learn a couple of new things and have something solid that you can take away and apply to your business today. Okay, great. Thanks, everyone.
Somebody in the chat said they've already got a takeaway with Menti. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can use this in a ton of different ways.
Perfect. Yeah, it's great. Okay. Tell us the business that you're representing today, or if you feel so inclined, drop your social handle. You're at such and such.
If you leave your social handle, people can go find you. It'd be great if we could get some follows even during this and likes during this. This is a nice little network of people who are all small business, all in the town of the Blue Mountains. So connect with people, or locally. We opened it up to Americans as well, but I don't see any. So.
I did see somebody say their favorite local spot was Orlando.
Oh. Right on.
This is great.
We got Bruce Weinbar very well represented there. Nicely done.
Awesome. Okay. Great. So everyone can take a quick snapshot of that, or once again, you will be sent a copy of this presentation. And for those that have joined us late, you will be, we're recording this and we'll send it to you at the end so that you don't have to take notes right now. Okay, awesome. Nice representation of people here. All right. If possible, one extra thing I'd like to learn about social media today is anyone? Oh, there we go. How to get more audience engagement. Yep. Paid ads. Yeah. Target appropriate audience, reach potential clients, Instagram stories. Yeah.
Yeah, how to get more engagement
Mm-hmm.
and targeting.
Yeah.
A little bit about Instagram. Okay. I'm just writing these things down, Julie, so that we have them for later too. Actually, I'll take a screenshot.
Yep. Yep, and we'll be covering most of this, save for, we're not getting too in depth today with paid ads, just because that is a whole webinar unto itself. It's definitely an important piece of social media marketing, but today we're talking more about the organic use of social media, which is another word for the unpaid use of social media as a marketing tool. More followers, Instagram for business, algorithms, yeah. Followers into customers. Doesn't consume too much time, yes. It can suck you right in. How many posts are ideal? Okay. Awesome. IGTV, yeah, there's lots of IGTV content out there right now. Okay, this is great.
So I've taken screenshots of those, Julie, and we might be
Perfect.
able to touch on some of them at the end. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So let's jump back into the presentation. So thanks everyone for sharing your thoughts and ideas during that part of the presentation. We will be returning to Menti later on in the session, so keep it close by. Quick review of our agenda. We're going to talk about determining your objectives. That's sort of first things first before you really do anything marketing related. You should have a clear understanding of your objectives. From there, you want to pick the right tools for the right job. And then we're going to jump into creating kick butt content and some best practices for tourism or otherwise. And then we'll wrap it up with a Q&A and discussion at the end. Okay? So determine your objectives and your audience. So there's different objectives within social media. You know, at the top of the funnel, we have awareness should actually be number one. Reach and impressions. So those are the number of people that are the number of eyeballs on your content, essentially. And that's an important number to pay attention to when you're looking at your analytics. So regardless of whether people are engaging with your content, which is great if they are, it's still important to look at reach and impressions and don't disregard that number, because that's a more accurate snapshot of how many people are seeing what you're posting. So whether they're reacting to it or commenting on it or sharing it, which are all considered engagements, the number of reach and impressions tells you how many people are seeing it. So, you know, I think if you're just using social media as a user, not as a marketer or a business person, but just as a social media user, think about how many times you see something on social media and you think, oh, that's kind of cool, but you don't react to it. You don't hit the like button, you don't comment, you don't share. It's still valuable. Education is another objective that we hear from our businesses, the businesses that we work with, our clients. So it's a great tool to help educate your audience and explain what you do and help tell that brand story. Customer service is another function of social media, a very popular one. It's becoming more and more popular as people, you know, don't necessarily want to pick up the phone or wait on hold or send an email. They connect with businesses directly through social media, either publicly or privately. Sometimes you prefer them to connect with you privately, but it's certainly shown itself to be a service tool, and used correctly can be an effective one. Conversions, so that we're talking about signups, lead generation, clicks, and obviously purchases is a big one. The biggest conversion is being sales. Engagement is another objective. So I referred to that earlier. That means anyone that is reacting to your posts or commenting or sharing. Those are all categorized as engagements. And Kai, just jump in. I see the chat going off, which is great, but if there's any questions that you want to address to the group within the chat, just feel free to jump in.
For sure. Just want to note again, Tim will be sending a link to the video and a copy of the deck after the presentation.
Yep. And then the last one, B2B, so business to business. And probably in there should be B2C as well, which is business to customer. So who are you trying to connect with? Does your business provide a service or product to other businesses, or does it provide a product or service to customers? So identifying your objectives is the first step in developing a good solid social media strategy. This helps to set the tone or helps you decide which channels you're best to be active on and which aren't necessarily worth your time. So, you know, a lot of times when I'm working with new businesses or people that are wanting to overhaul their social media, they think that they need to be active everywhere, or at least on the big ones. And that's not necessarily the case. If you're not using the tool for its intended purpose or the channel for its intended purpose, then it's a waste of your time, and don't bother having a presence. You're better to focus on one, do it really well, and then expand upon that into other channels that might help you connect with your audience and reach your objectives. So yeah, avoiding that spray and pray method, I like to call it, which is I want to be everywhere and talking to everyone. Well, that's not necessarily a worthwhile use of your time. So yeah, start small, learn what resonates with your audience and who your audience is, evaluate and grow from there. And if you're already active on platforms that don't meet your current business objectives, it's okay to make a case for shutting that down or focusing your business efforts elsewhere, taking the things that you've learned from that and applying them to other channels. That's okay. It's not the end of the world to shut down a social media channel. All right, know thy audience. So this is a quick snapshot kind of who hangs out where. So, you know, 3.5 billion social media users worldwide is a lot. Whose attention are you seeking? So, you know, a metal band playing at a country music festival are likely not to be met with applause. Audiences vary by business, but below are some quick facts about social media users by channel. So Facebook is obviously the biggest one. They have over 2 billion active users. 68% of them are adults, 51% are teens, or 68% of adults have Facebook, I'm sorry, and 51% of teens have Facebook. So it does skew older. There are 65 million Facebook business pages, and it's ranks second behind YouTube for video consumption. Businesses see a median engagement rate for organic engagement rate of 0.9%. So may seem low, but maybe that's a bit of comfort for those of you that are not seeing those high engagement numbers. 49% of users will like a Facebook page to support a brand they like, which is great. However, the challenge with that, and as a user, I speak as a user when I express my frustration that if I've chosen to like a business on Facebook, it's frustrating that I don't necessarily see their content. And that's just because of how Facebook delivers content into our news feeds and how the algorithm works. They really want people and businesses to spend money in order for their audience to see their content, which is not how it used to be back in the good old days, but it's how it is now. It's a money-making machine. And so there was a question, somebody wanted to learn more about getting greater engagement. Well, you can set up a paid social campaign with the objective of engagement, and you specifically put money towards getting greater engagement. Excuse me, one sec. So yeah, it's frustrating when, you know, you like a page and you don't necessarily see that you're not served their content. But the more, if they're, when you do see that content, the more you engage with it, the more Facebook is likely to serve that content to you, if that makes sense. Okay, Instagram has 1 billion active monthly users and attracts a younger audience with 72% of teens and 35% of adults on Instagram. 71% of Instagram users are under the age of 35. And 60% of users seek out and discover new products on Instagram. Now, if we were in person, I would ask for a show of hands for how many people have purchased a product through Instagram, either using the swipe up feature in Instagram stories or the social commerce function on an Instagram business page where you tap and you see a product and you can click through to the website. I'm raising my hand real high because I am the prime target for that. And I would venture to say a bit of a sucker for buying something through Instagram. I find it a really effective way to, they know, Instagram knows who I am and they know what I want before I even want it, which is sometimes a little creepy, but also helpful. As well, travel planning through Instagram is becoming more and more popular. So people are planning trips, seeking out, hidden gems and local haunts through Instagram just by tapping the location function on an Instagram post and then searching for content that has been tagged with that same location, which may be helpful for some of your businesses if you're attracting tourists to utilize location tags that maybe are not super specific to your business. So if your business is in the town of Blue Mountains, you might want to tag it with the town of Blue Mountains versus, Crowbar app in the town of Blue Mountains. You might find that you get some more visibility that way. As for Twitter, Twitter is not dead. I know a lot of people that don't understand it or think it's a waste of time. It has 326 million monthly active users, myself being one of them. It's 80% of Twitter users are affluent millennials. 72% of the B2B businesses, market on Twitter. It is a great channel for connecting with other businesses. And 62% of B2C businesses market on Twitter. Twitter also has its own native advertising service. Of course, they want your money also, but it's a little bit different from Facebook and Instagram in that way. And 40% of Twitter users say they've made a purchase because of an influencer's tweet. So the content on Twitter is a lot, it's a lot more short-lived. The Twitter feed is refreshed constantly, and it's impossible to keep up with all of it, but it can be a valuable tool for sure. YouTube is a hotspot for a young audience, 18 to 24-year-olds. 96% of them are on YouTube. It works in 80 different languages. 1.9 billion logged in user visits each month. I would venture to guess that in the last couple of weeks, that number is probably even higher, with people being forced to stay at home. I'm sure that YouTube views are skyrocketing right now. Popular trends on the platform are gaming, relaxation, how-tos, and product reviews. Pinterest has a business function also. They're like a business marketing function. Has 250 million active monthly users, mostly women. 83% of Pinterest users are 25 to 54-year-old women. 85% of those women use it to plan life moments, significant milestones, so vacations, weddings, having a baby, decorating, etc. Meals, that's a big one as well. It drives 33% more traffic proportionately than Facebook, 71% more than Snapchat, and 200% more than Twitter. So if you have a blog or content on your website that you want to drive people to, Pinterest, depending on what it is that you're showcasing and selling, might be a good platform for you to explore. It is a highly visual medium, so recommendations are that your content that you're posting on Pinterest is visually pleasing. And then finally, the last one that I'm going to cover, I mean, we could go on forever with audiences from all, you know, there's so many social media channels. These are just the main ones that we get asked about and that we use for social media marketing. So LinkedIn has 590 million active monthly users. Again, I would venture to say that in these current times, that's probably even higher with people either out of work or looking for work. Most popular among 25 to 49-year-old men and women equally. Attracts an affluent, educated, and urban audience primarily. And it's the top platform for business to business lead generation. So if what you sell is a product or service for businesses, you most definitely want to be present on LinkedIn. Posts that with images tend to get twice as many comments, and video posts are 5 times more likely to get comments. So if you're not on LinkedIn, you don't have a business account on LinkedIn or a business page on LinkedIn, and you service businesses, other businesses, make that a priority for sure. This is just a quick snapshot. You may have seen this before, but it's a quick and easy way to understand all the different social media sites. So Facebook, I like donuts. Twitter, I'm eating a hashtag donut. YouTube, here's a video of me eating a donut, which I'm sure that content exists. Pinterest, here's a good recipe for a donut. Spotify, I'm listening to donut music. Yelp, which is a review page, you will like donuts at this place. Instagram, here's a pretty photo filtered of my donut. LinkedIn, my skills include donut eating. Foursquare is a location-based app or channel. This is where I like to eat donuts. Google Plus, not a thing anymore, but when this infographic was made, it was Google employees who eat donuts. Quora, where did donuts get invented? And Tumblr, I like to blog about donuts. There's a bunch on that are not on there. This could probably be updated with TikTok and all the other newer social channels, but you get the idea. It's just a funny little infograph. Okay. So other things to ponder. These are just rhetorical questions. No need to answer unless you feel so inclined in the chat. Are there other business objectives that you are trying to meet with social media that I didn't touch on? And are there other social media channels that you're active on? If so, why? I know in my time as a social media marketer, we've dabbled in, we being the businesses that I've used social media for, have dabbled in other channels that were not necessarily as, you know, we're a bit more of an experiment. So Snapchat being one of them. Snapchat hit its prime about 2 years ago. Everybody was on it. And then once Instagram stories came along, it sort of clobbered Snapchat because that was essentially what Snapchat was. And Snapchat also didn't have the analytics and the insight that we as a business needed to see to prove its value. I just want to see quickly, I see the chat popping off. Is Kai, is anyone, oh, there it is.
It's okay. I'm just answering questions as they come in, but somebody asked what B2B and B2C mean.
Oh, okay, cool.
So business to business, or B2B stands for business to business. You are a business that typically services other businesses,
Yes.
where business B2C means business to consumer, meaning you are a business that provides goods or services to the public at large.
Yes.
Good question.
So we as Canopy Media are a B2B organization. Something like Good Grief Coffee would be a B2C. So yeah, and this anecdote about Snapchat, it goes back to what I said earlier about it's okay to try and fail. It is a bit of trial and error, especially when you are starting a new channel or a presence on a new channel, and you just, you give it a good solid 3 to 6 months and you aren't seeing the results that you're looking for. Well, it's okay to shut that down rather than keep it going just because.
I know you mentioned in another workshop we had done, Julie, that trying and failing is absolutely, we always encourage experimentation, which is what you're touching on there. But also you had mentioned that if you try and fail and just maybe you want to shut down temporarily, you don't have to delete everything. You can wait till you have a better opportunity to reactivate and engage again if you feel like maybe you ran out of time or it just wasn't working at that particular time of year, or who knows, right? You don't have to either be in or out. You can pause.
That's a really good point. Yes, you can make your page hidden, or you don't have to, you can just deactivate it. You don't have to delete everything like Kai said and lose all the work that you put into it. That being said, there is a social media graveyard with Snapchat business accounts and Twitter accounts that I've tried and have not worked, and that's okay. And then another consideration is your audience active on other social networks? And if so, how would you target them? Just gonna take a quick drink of water. Okay, so choosing and using the right tools is what we're going to move on to next. And the way that I like to the analogy I like to use when I explain this to clients that I work with is you wouldn't use a wrench to hang a picture on the wall. In the same way, think of social media platforms as the tools to help you get the job done effectively or achieve your objectives. So you want to find that hammer to put the nail or to hang the picture on the wall. You don't want to use something that's could do the job, but it's not the most effective tool. So if your objectives include education or customer service, Twitter is a great tool to effectively get your job done. If you want to direct traffic to your website, Instagram is not where you want to focus your time. And that is because Instagram is a mobile-only app, and although you can view it on a desktop, its functionality on a desktop is not great. They want you to be on your phone, in their app, and they want you to stay in their app. So the only way that you can navigate outside of Instagram is through the link in bio. But otherwise, you cannot include links in your captions. They are not clickable. I mean, you can include links, but they look really long and ugly, and they're not clickable, and people are not going to be copying and pasting that link into their browser, likely. Stories, in order to include the swipe up function to your website or a website, you have to have more than 10,000 followers, which I'm going to guess that most of us are not there yet, and that's okay. But that's why Instagram is not the best tool to direct traffic to your website. If you're selling to other businesses, so you're a B2B, LinkedIn is where you need to be. And finally, is the story of your business told well visually? Instagram and Pinterest are highly visual platforms that would be great for you to consider for marketing your business.
Do you have any examples for visual businesses? I was thinking maybe something like scenic caves or.
Yeah, or event planning businesses are great, showcase really well. Decor businesses, anything within like food and beverage, there's those, the content there is endless and visually pleasing and literally and figuratively appetizing. Those are great ones to showcase on those platforms. And then anything outdoors, like you said, Kai, there's, especially with where we live in this region, there's so many stunning landscapes and natural vistas that you can showcase through those platforms.
So Julie, we had somebody raise their hand. How do you feel about me allowing Chen to ask a question? Chen, if I allow you to, how do you feel about that, Julie? Would you like to, Chen, I'm gonna allow you to talk here. Oh, I think I scared him. Sorry, Chen. Oh, no, here we are. Hi, Chen, how are you? This may be a failed experiment.
That's okay. Maybe we can circle back at the end during our Q&A or discussion.
Just thought I'd give it a shot, Julie.
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry, Chen.
Trial and error, people, trial and error.
We've got a chat from Chen here. Perfect. I'll just answer it in the chat, Julie.
Okay, sorry. All right. Moving on. So one thing I like to say with social media, it can be so time consuming. That was one of the things that somebody mentioned that they'd like to learn more about. And the more time you have for other things, the more everything. More time equals more everything. So in addition to selecting the right platforms, aka tools to meet your objectives, there's so many resources out there that can help you with efficiency. It can save you time, money, resources. So many of them are free for basic use. There are a lot, and I've tried many. So the resources on the right here are kind of a short list of some of my favorites, and they each kind of perform a different function. Hootsuite is a dashboard that can showcase all of your social feeds in columns. I like it for Twitter, specifically for scheduling content on Twitter. You can also use it to schedule content on Facebook and on Instagram. The Instagram function is hit or miss for me, so I don't love using it to schedule content on Instagram, because have been times where I've scheduled something and for whatever reason it doesn't actually get published. So it's not the most reliable for scheduling Instagram. Again, Instagram wants you to be in their app on your phone and posting in real time. They really have not made scheduled posts a functionality for businesses, which, like it or not, it's the way it is. Pages Manager, this is great if you manage a Facebook page or multiple Facebook pages. It's a great way to look into the content on there, to answer questions in your inbox, to see who's engaging with your content. It's a really great tool for managing Facebook pages. Canva is a design app or program. They have an app, but I primarily use it on my desktop, canva.com, free to set up an account, and you can create some really nice visually appealing templates. There are paid options as well, but if you want to create a poster or notice or just social media content, it's a really good tool. Crowdriff is a Toronto-based firm that has designed software that primarily, the primary function of what they offer is aggregating all of your user generated content. So if you want to have a quick snapshot of people that are tagging your photo or tagging you in photos, using specific hashtags, you can pull all of that into one library in CrowdRiff, and you can request permissions through CrowdRiff to repost people's photos. You can run contests, hashtag-based photo contests, things like that. It was something that I used during my time at Blue Mountain, and it was fantastic. And then ShortStack is one of many contesting tools. So if you want to run a bit more of a robust contest and you want to capture data from your customers and your contest entrants, ShortStack's a great option to look at. Alternatively, you can also just run, you're allowed to run contests now directly within certain apps. So Facebook and Instagram contests are a popular option on those channels.
Hey, Julie, do you want me to talk for 1 minute so you can have a fair break to have a drink of water?
Sure.
Okay, I'll do that. A couple of things that Julie was going to touch on here. We're just going to give her voice a little break here. It's that time of year. There are colds and flus going around on top of COVID. But so a couple of things Julie's got in the deck here. We love to use stock photography if we have to. In general, we would really prefer that people are using images that they shoot themselves of their location. And if you have an iPhone 6 or higher, it is more than adequate to shoot high quality photographs. And these, like an iPhone X now, those things shoot amazing pictures for your business. So you don't need to go out and invest in a digital SLR or anything like that. Your camera is more than adequate. But in the event that you need some stock photography, there's a list, there will be a link there of places where we love to get stock photography. But I also want to make note that if you need stock photography, there's some great places where you can get it cheaply too. So Getty Images is a good example of a place where you're going to spend a considerable amount of money on a photo. But a better example would be, right now I think, Julie, internally, we're really loving Deposit Photos.
Yep.
Which is considerably more inexpensive. That's Deposit Photos.
Mm-hmm.
And we're finding that to be a more cost-effective solution, but also you can find really great photos in that particular site that are really well filtered, and you are able to ask for very specific things. For instance, I'm looking for a dentist who is doing teeth cleaning services for a child in a dentist office with the mother in the background. If you're really specific in a stock photography image site, you often, if the filters are good, you can get exactly what you're looking for very quickly, as opposed to searching that stock photography site for a word like dentist, which is going to yield 15,000 results, but you're going to spend a long time trying to figure out which one works for you. So that's an example of a website. And Julie, is that enough break to?
No, that's great. Thank you.
Ease your parched throat.
Yeah. Yeah, I promise I'm not sick. It's just my voice is strained. And then in terms of scheduling tools, there's so many for planning content, and there's so many that you can pay for or try, free trials, this and that. And in my experience, nothing beats Google Calendar. If you're using the G Suite, different Google tools like Docs or Sheets, or, right now we're using Google Presentations, then you're familiar with Google products. Google Calendar works really well on desktop and mobile. It's visible by anyone you share it with. So if there's more than one person within your organization that is overseeing social media, you can share your content calendar with them. You can plan recurring content. So, maybe you're doing a weekly Throwback Thursday post on Thursdays, or a Transformation Tuesday post. And it's just a great way to create placeholder content, and then actually put your if you want, your captions or maybe a link to a story that you want to write about or share something about at a future date. So I rely on it heavily. I color code it for each different client, and it's just a really valuable tool that efficiently and effectively helps me plan my social media content. And then one, just here, this top bullet point, the Instagram captions. Again, Instagram's finicky. They've got their own particular way of doing things. And this tool here, which we'll link out when you receive this deck, is called IG Line Break. And it's just a simple site where some guy has figured out how to appropriately space the captions on your Instagram caption. Because if you try to create those line breaks within the app, it doesn't work and your captions all get smushed together. So if you have a longer caption with multiple points, or you want to format it in a certain way, this tool is awesome. It's free. And you can also create bold lettering and italicized lettering, which is kind of neat. It can kind of cut through the mundane captions that you see on Instagram. It's just another way to get people's attention. So at this stage, normally if we were all in a room together, we would take a quick break to work together. Since we are not in a room all together, we just wanted to share this with you and maybe inspire you to work with peers within your industry outside of this webinar, or business associates, and undergo this activity, which is identifying an ideal customer, picking 1 to 2 social media platforms to market on, and brainstorming ways that you can reach that customer using the platforms you've identified. It's just something to put what we're learning into action. So,
and I think you could do that digitally too, right? You know, you get, I know Google Meet right now, I believe, is 100% free for anyone. There are all kinds of free video conferencing services that are available right now, especially for free, which is great for small to medium-sized businesses. And that brainstorm, I mean, even if you came up with 2 or 3 ideas, Julie, I could imagine if you have a good sense of who you want to target and you have 2 or 3 ideas and you execute on those and then see how they work, like that could be really valuable.
Definitely. Yeah. And I mean, and here for the purposes of this workshop, we suggested a fictitious business, but honestly, you can use your own as a case study. It's valuable, and working together sometimes spawns ideas that you wouldn't have come up with on your own. So I'll leave that with you to do in your own time, and we'll continue on. Creating kick butt content. So you've likely heard the term content is king, coined by Bill Gates back in '96, before social media was ever a thing or even a thought. He was referring to the internet in general, but obviously the same can be applied to social media. As Kai mentioned, you don't need to be a professional photographer or videographer or a graphic designer or copywriter to create kick butt social media content. The requirements for creating it are simple: planning, creativity, time, and a mobile device or laptop. Exhibit A, I've sourced some examples of kick butt content. This is a couple communities over down in Wasaga Beach. As you can see, visually pretty basic. They've found these images likely through Google, or, you know, I don't think they spend a ton of time looking for these images. But Grandma's Beach Treats is a great spot in Wasaga Beach. Delicious butter tarts, ice cream. And every day they have this simple game. It's the name game. And each day they select a name, and that person's name, if you have that name, you can go and get a free treat, which is really a no-brainer, and, you know, gets people through their doors of their storefront And likely, you know, we've spoken with the owner of this business, and most people come for their free treat with others in tow. So they're almost always buying something and spending money, which is great. So it takes a little bit of planning, some creativity, time, and a mobile device or laptop. But as you can see, you know, it had 61 comments and 6 shares. And I think that was like later that day or something. Or
Yeah, that was within 3 hours.
it was within 3 hours. Yeah, it was like very shortly after they posted it. So if you jump on their page, that's how they generate engagement. People tag their friends with that name of the day, and it gets them visibility, it gets them engagement, and generates conversions and traffic, which is awesome. It's a super simple way to achieve those objectives.
It's amazing to me that they've written 2 or 3 sentences, picked a couple of images, and they have 61 comments and 6 shares.
Mm-hmm. And they
So
literally just
your
day they
is
spent
that 10 minutes? 5 minutes?
sorry.
It would total time investment here for Grandma's Beach Treats, is that 5 or 10 minutes?
Oh yeah, 5 minutes. I mean, yeah, and you know, they can plan this for a month. You can do a month's worth of posts, schedule
Wow.
them in advance, and spend maybe, you know, an hour or two putting all that together once a month. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Exhibit B, so Unboxing Summer it's a Bruce Gray Simcoe campaign. It was a great example of a regional partnership that showcased a number of different attractions and businesses across the region of Bruce Gray and Simcoe County. So there's a video link there. We're not going to watch it right now, but you can go ahead and watch that later. That's a great example of partnership and creating kick-butt content, leveraging partnerships. This is another video link to Instagram, and it's a video posted by Blue Mountain, shot on GoPro. So it's experiential content. So it's kind of a day in the life. It's not highly polished or edited, but it generated over 8,000 views and some great engagement in the comments. So again, it's, you know, using a sponsorship with GoPro, it's posting that content, and off you go. Okay, now we're just gonna run through some best practices for small businesses. So your social media should prioritize images and videos. Now, there should be a disclaimer there. That's if what you deliver is visually appealing. And even if it's not, there are ways around that. There are ways to creatively showcase what it is you do using infographics or other graphic elements and stock photography, like Kai mentioned earlier. You should also leverage existing content and relationships. So any partnerships within governing bodies that you fall under, or partnerships like the SBEC or the town. There's, you know, great ways to leverage those relationships and engage with those other businesses. And what I mean by leverage existing content, that means seeing who is tagging you, using hashtags, and reposting that content or sharing that content when you're mentioned or tagged by other users. So that's also bleeds into number 3, utilize mentions, tagging, locations, and hashtags. So that's within your own content. You want to make sure that you're using as many of those tools as possible. So, you know, for example, in that Blue Mountain GoPro post, we would have tagged Blue Mountain, we would have tagged GoPro, tagging as many different relevant accounts as possible, including a location. I spoke about that earlier, and keeping the location more generic is better in terms of being found and visibility. And then hashtags. Hashtags only work on specific social media platforms or are most effective on certain platforms, i.e. Instagram, Twitter, and you can use them on Facebook. The research I've done and the experience I've had is that it's not they're not that efficient on Facebook. People don't search for content or really click on Facebook hashtags, although it is possible. And then you want to tell or tease a story. Excuse me. So tell or tease a story about your business. A lot of really great engagement I see among the small businesses we work with is the content that tells a story about the people behind the business. You know, a lot of businesses are shy or they don't want to showcase their people on their social media platforms. But honestly, those personal, heartfelt stories that really generate some really great engagement. So prioritize images and video. Image fact, people follow visual instructions 323% better than written instructions. Video. Mobile video usage has increased by nearly 10 million daily viewing minutes in the last 2 years. It's crazy. You all have a mobile phone with video and photography capabilities, so I'd encourage you to use it. Prioritize photography and video in your social media content strategy. You do not need to be a professional to do this. Leverage existing content and relationships. So content curation, that's a big thing. So there's content creation and content curation. And the blend of the two is what makes a great social media strategy. So don't feel like you need to create everything that goes out on your page. You may see something else out there that you want to share on your page. You may see an article that you think is relevant and interesting to your audience that you want to share. You may want to repost content that someone else has posted with credit, obviously, giving credit where it's due. Partnerships with content creators and influencers. That's another big one. You know, identifying influencers that are specific to your vertical or product that that you sell, and partnering with those people who have the following and the influence and the audience. And those partnerships can work in a number of different ways. Some influencers require to be paid monetarily. Others will work for in-kind product or service. But finding people who connect with the audience that you're trying to reach and engaging with them and then partnering with them can be really valuable. And then partnering with other brands and businesses for contests or giveaways. So find businesses within your own community, you know, create an experience, a package that, you know, you can experience different products or services at businesses within your own neighborhood, and getting together and all working towards one common goal. So make space in your social media calendar for content created by others. Plan a giveaway or contest once per season. And there's some examples here that you can look at after. But there's some simple, really easy examples. The like, comment, and share technique, which is basically like this photo, comment with your favorite, whatever it may be, and tag a friend and share in your story or share on your newsfeed. And each time those things happen, that's an entry into our contest. And then you can use random number generators and things like that to select a winner. I mentioned utilizing the tools within each platform. So at mentions on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Tagging, that's directly on an image. You can tag on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, including a location on Instagram and Facebook. And then hashtags. I spoke about hashtags already, or I spoke about hashtags and how they're best used on Instagram and Twitter. LinkedIn as well, you can use hashtags. tease a story. So tell a brief story and invite others to share their experience. Or if you're talking about, tell me about a time when blah, 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 blah. Use a mix of static images, text slides, and video in your Instagram and Facebook stories. There's a lot of different ways that you can use Instagram stories creatively and Facebook stories. You can do, create in create mode. You can do photos, you can do videos, you can do boomerangs. You can also create polls, questions, different interactive elements within the Instagram story feature, just different ways to get your audience to engage with you. And then drive to your website or blog, tell just enough of a story to pique their interest, your followers' interest, and get them to click through to your website to learn more. Brands that storytell in their marketing develop deeper relationships with their audience. So again, this is another activity that I encourage you to do in your own time, and look for examples that where other businesses have created kick-butt social media content. And I would encourage you to utilize the bookmark feature or the save function. So within Facebook and Instagram, you can create saved collections of content. So for example, I have a saved collection right now on my Instagram of activities during this quarantine time to keep my kids entertained. I have a saved collection of recipes that I want to try. And these are things that you see and you're like, oh, I really want to do this, or I really like that, but I don't have time for it right now. Or I have another saved collection of, businesses that have published really great kick-butt content. And those can help inspire you as a social media marketer and may give you ideas for how you can apply that to your own business. Okay. I kind of breezed through that last part. I know we're running a little short on time, and I wanted to leave enough time for comments, questions, and feedback. Although I think we're going to jump back into Menti if we have time. Do we have time, Kai?
We do. The webinar is scheduled until 10:30. So if we want to do that, we can do that quickly. And
Okay.
I just want to also make note while we're doing this, if you're interested and you have a question, you can type it in the chat or in the Q&A panel in Zoom, and we'll try and get to that as well.
Great. So if you want to jump back into menti.com, we are, this is a nice, easy question. So in menti.com, again, if you're not on there, the code you want to punch in is 176856.
All right, I'm on there, Julie, right now, and I'm refreshing. And this is what I see. I see the strawberry that says loading result.
Okay.
Let's see what happens here. Okay, perfect. We're up to date.
All right.
So I can see easy quiz time.
Awesome.
All right. Okay.
Pillow fighting is a recognized sport in Canada. Yes, true or false?
You got to be kidding. All right. 12 of us said false, but
it's actually true, believe it or not. It is a recognized sport. Okay. UGC is an important part of curating social media content. It stands for United Generic Content, User Generated Content, Using Gmail to Connect.
Great job, Julie. It is so important, right? It's the social part of social media.
Yep. Absolutely.
And it's
So,
so funny that that seems so obvious, but a lot of businesses forget that this is
mhm.
interactive. You interact with your people in your community, you interact with the businesses in your community, you collaborate to make more interesting and shareable content. It's a
Yep.
great way, it is a great way to reach significantly more people than you could on your own.
Yeah, it really is. And it's important before you repost a photo of someone else's that you ask for permission. If it's a mention in a story, the general rule is, I think it's goes without, it's implied that you have permission to repost that in your story, because stories are only stay up for 24 hours. But if it's going on your feed, it's important to request permission before reposting and giving credit to the original source.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Name one requirement for creating kick butt social media content. Mhm.
Yeah, it's great.
Yep, there's some great answers there. Creativity, time, story, images, plan. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that people feel like creativity is a really important part of that, and that certainly makes sense to me.
Mhm.
Um, but carving out that time to be creative
Mhm.
seems like it would make sense to me. Like give yourself that hour a week to really try and think of something innovative and exciting that's shareable, right?
Yes.
I also have a comment from Valerie here. She says, I use the repost app, which gives credit to the originator
Yep.
as it
Perfect.
relates to reposting content or images. Yeah.
Yes. So that's great for Instagram, and it will usually embed the user's name right in their photo. And then often you can copy their caption, the original caption, and it will give credit to the original poster. So perfect. And generally, if people are tagging your business or using your hashtag or whatever, it's because they want you to see their content. So it's not often that you will seek permission and someone will say no. It just gets tricky a little bit sometimes around privacy and that sort of thing. So I've had instances where people have said, yes, you can repost my content. But I don't want to be tagged in it, or I don't want any mention of my name, which is fair. So that's why it's important to request. Okay. Name one free tool you can use to manage your social media marketing. I shared a few. It doesn't have to be one that I mentioned, but it can be. Yeah, Hootsuite, Canva, Google Calendar,
Yep.
Save, yeah, Line Break.
I love that you mentioned Google Calendar, Julie, because there can be layers of complexity into programming and scheduling and understanding what you're going to do. And it doesn't have to be like that. There are amazing free tools that you can use to get this done.
Yep,
But again, with time and a little creativity and some simple tools, all of a sudden you've got a social media program that's going to give you a chance, at least to experiment and see if it works for you.
exactly. And the thing about paying for any of the services that can provide a similar function, that what if you decide to stop paying for that service? What if you grow your team and you want other people to access that service? Does that increase the cost? So Google Calendar, there's an element of security in it, I feel. I don't think Google is going anywhere anytime soon. So it's just another reason that I really like to use it.
And I promise you, if you get into Canva, give yourself 10 minutes to figure it out, and you will save yourself dozens of hours per year in graphic design. And you can do it yourself for free. So you don't need to pay anybody to do this. Um, in Canva, the business model is if you use an image from their library, you end up paying for it when you download the image. And I have to say, it's still very inexpensive if you do that. But if you upload your own images, it's entirely free, eliminates the difficulty around graphic design. You'll be a pro in minutes and you'll look great on your social media.
Yeah, I actually design my own business cards in Canva.
Wow.
I've done birthday party invitations for my kids. I've done social media content. I use it a lot and it's great. And it has a small selection of free images for stock. They're not great, but they do have some that are free. On top of which they also have certain elements that are free. So you can create like an infograph or something like that for free. But yeah, they do also try to upsell you on paying for certain things. But most of the functionality that I use is free within Canva. I like something pancake stack. It was short stack.
Oh, right. Short
Pancake.
stack. So I can type that 2 words, right?
Yeah, short stack.
All right, that's in the chat. I also want to say, don't be afraid to invest a little bit of money as well. Like
Absolutely.
a lot of people look at apps sometimes like, oh my God, it's $8.99 a year or something like that. Like really think about the value to your business. A lot of these tools are worth paying for. And if they're inexpensive, it's not a bad idea to drop $20 or $30 or even a couple $100 if you think you're going to get value from it. That's
Yep.
the trick. How much money is investing that going to make you? If it's going to make you $1.36 because you sold an extra muffin, probably not worth it. But if you're going to sell additional products or services, don't be afraid to put money into your marketing. Who would you rather have lunch with? Okay.
Lots of people missing their moms right now. That's fair.
I'm going to piggyback on that too.
No love for Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Wah, wah. That's okay. I wouldn't have picked her right now either. Okay, just a fun little one. Oh, Michelle Obama and your mom are tied. Okay. Okay. Answer fast to get more points. What is it called when a bottle of champagne is opened with a sword? Is it called sorting, slicing, or sabering?
That's an interesting one.
Ah,
Oh,
yeah,
look at
it's
that.
called sabering. Maybe don't try it at home. Or maybe do.
Or do, yeah, outside.
I've seen it in person. It's pretty impressive, but
Yeah.
it can also go sideways very quickly.
There's also a hand involved, which seems kind of sketchy, but
Yes, and a sword, which
yeah.
not everybody has on hand.
Oh.
Okay, I didn't even know that there were points awarded. So
There
there
was
you
points
go.
for speed, and that's how that works.
Okay,
Kathy, it's
great.
1,700 points. Way to go, Kathy. You know who
Okay,
you are.
so we are going to wrap up with a a thanks to everyone for their time today. A little Tom Hanks gif for relevance right now. And Kai, are there any questions or anything that we can answer from?
Right on. So there were a few questions that I've answered via chat and via Q&A. If you want to go into the chat to get links to a lot of the things we talked about, they are in there. Tim has a workshop that's coming up for taking great photos, which I would highly recommend attending. I'm severely biased, but this is a really great idea. Producing good quality images is a big challenge even for a lot of our clients here at Canopy Media, and it's something they just never get to. It doesn't have to be hard. That's a good workshop. Check out those links. I've answered all the questions in the Q&A, and there was a couple questions I thought maybe from Menti earlier that we could quickly touch on. Andrew asked, how do we use hashtags more effectively to reach more people?
Great question. So it's important when you use a hashtag, let's say on Instagram, click on it and look at all the other content that is being posted using that hashtag. And evaluate, it'll show you either the top content or the recent content. You can choose. And if you look at the top content, evaluate whether what you're seeing applies to your business and your audience. If it's just a random, you know, if you're using a generic hashtag, you're not going to catch people's attention. But if you're using something a little more specific, you might be, you know, you want to target it. You want to find that sweet spot where it's not too niche and too specific, and it's not too generic. And then what you can also do is when you do see the content, let's say you're in the Explore page, you're looking at all the people that have used the same hashtag, and you see something that looks similar to what it is that you're trying to offer, or it attracts you. Look at the hashtags that they've used also. This is a great way to see what other hashtags businesses are leveraging, and include them in your content going forward. You can, on Instagram, use up to 30 hashtags per post. And I would say in the early stages, more is better. So use up to all 30 of those and play around and see what works best for you. So I know some businesses want a dedicated hashtag for their business, and they want their customers to use that hashtag as well. So make sure, if that's what you want, that your customers know that you want them to use that hashtag, either by including it in your other marketing materials or your emails, or, you know, they come and take a yoga class and they get, there's some communication, or you tell your participants that you want them to post about your business using a specific hashtag. It's okay to ask your customers to share their thoughts. If they've had a great experience with you and your business, it's okay to ask for them to share that on social media. Similarly, we offer a presentation on reputation management, and we talk about the value of asking for a review, a Google review. And it's not shameless. It's, you know, the value to your business is exponential, and it's not a huge ask of your client or your customer to do that.
Thanks, Julie.
So on that note, I will say, if you've enjoyed this webinar and you feel inclined to post about it on social media, we would be ever so grateful, and you can tag us at Canopy Media.
Right on. Thank you for that shameless plug. I like it. I have an additional shameless plug, and it's not, I don't think it's shameless, in that we're going to be offering another webinar, I believe it will be, on reputation management and cultivating a really powerful and positive digital reputation online. There are tricks that you can implement that will get more people to talk about you more frequently. And we all know, everybody in this room knows, that the last time you went to a restaurant, you checked to see what their star rating was. And if it was less than 4, you probably didn't go, right? So you want to be thinking about that for your business too, because when people make a purchase decision for a product or a service, they check out who loves you and how much they love you. And if not enough people love you, or they don't love you in a way that's really positive, like they give you 3 stars, nobody's going to use your product or service. So important, that workshop too. I have a great question here. Sorry, Julie, to put you in the hot seat like this, but it's 10:32, so we're going to be efficient here, I think. Can you share a visual of scheduling on Google Calendar?
Great question.
Just really quickly, you know, maybe drop into, you know,
yes,
a client that we work for.
Give me 1 second. And
so I'm gonna, while you're setting that up, Julie, I have another question that I thought was really, really great. And it was a quick question around, like, hey, is there a best time to post? Is there high target times? And what I'm gonna say is, Julie, you don't need to answer that. There are 3 amazing blogs that I'm gonna put in the chat panel that have awesome answers on when it's best to post on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. My personal opinion is you don't need to think about this too much right now. What you really want to just start doing is posting content regularly that you believe in. And then once you get more efficient and once you get deeper down the rabbit hole, take a look at these blog posts. They're from reputable companies like Hootsuite, Sprout Social, which is a Neil Patel product, and HubSpot, which is another amazing content producer and marketing automation platform. I'm going to post those links. You can read them, and you will find out when the best times to post are. But in the beginning, I think, Julie, you would say the same thing. Just get started, right?
Yep, exactly. So if
go ahead,
you can
Julie.
see my screen, I'm sharing a quick snapshot of what the month of March looks like. Each color that you're seeing represents a different client. And I have my own sort of way of knowing what has been posted and what hasn't. So some of it you can see has these little brackets around it. That means that it's been shared. And then within that content, I have photos and the caption. So that is how I like to work. Not everything has that much detail, but you can see, yeah, there's certain things that are reoccurring. So Wellness Wednesday is applicable to a specific client of ours. I'll share a tip on wellness. You know, we have, oh, that's the other thing. Key dates or events that are specific to your business. So I think you can probably tell by looking at this that one of our clients is a dental office. So, you know, we have National Dental Hygienist Week coming up, Oral Health Month in April. We had Dental Assistant Week. So these are things that I can put into the calendar and plan in advance, and know that when I'm coming up on planning and I look at my month, I can say, okay, I know that I need to source content about XYZ. So here's, you know, or a client is going to be present at this trade show. And so I'm going to post about this trade show. So that's kind of, this is April, and you know, certain things are recurring. I have articles, tips of the week, things like that.
Perfect.
So hopefully that gives you a bit of a better visual for how I use Google Calendar.
Thanks, Julie.
Yeah.
It's 10:35, and we have one more question here. And I think, so I'll just read it to you. How do we post on different social media channels and get out there in multiple locations? And I think this probably has to do a little bit with repurposing content for different channels.
How do you repurpose content for different channels, or how do you post in different channels?
Yeah, like I think I'm going to reposition the question is, what's an efficient way to be out there in multiple locations at the same time for the same messaging?
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, there's certain limitations, like for if you're repurposing content for Twitter, obviously you're limited by the 280 character limit. And so a big long story or multiple paragraph caption is not going to work for that platform. You know, there's not really any way that I'm aware of to automate that. So it just takes some clever rewording and paring down what it is that you're trying to say into some really basic words, and utilizing characters like the ampersand and things like that. In terms of posting, if the question is regarding posting across multiple platforms in one sort of using one tool, Hootsuite is one that I mentioned that you can use to post on multiple platforms, all under one program. But my preference is to post natively within each app. And I realize that's not maybe the most time effective method, but it's what I prefer, just because some of these tools have some, like I said, like some glitches, like it doesn't always publish to Instagram, or, you know, you're scheduling, you have to make sure that you're in the right time zone when you want to schedule, things like that.
Thanks, Julie. I promised you it was one more question, but we have a hand raised, so I'm going to give this a shot one more time because it's fun to try. This is Michaela, who I have unmuted, I think. Michaela, are you able to speak, or is this going to fail again?
It looks like she's muted. I can see her. little screen, and it's
So I believe, Michaela, you would need to unmute yourself by clicking on the microphone in your dashboard somewhere, probably at the lower left. If you want to give it a shot. If you don't, that's okay too. Michaela, another way you can also ask your question is in the chat if you like, or in the Q&A panel. All right, I also want to let people know that somebody had asked, is the whole chat going to be available? And to the best of my knowledge, it won't be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste those questions and answers. Oh, it looks like participants can unmute themselves by pressing and holding the space bar as well. So we will cut and paste all of the chat notes into a Google Doc, which will then be shared by Tim as well. So following this webinar, which will end in just a couple minutes, you will receive a video, a link to a video of the webinar in Vimeo. You will receive a copy of the deck because it has links in there that might be valuable as well to you. And you will also receive a link to a Google Doc, which will have the entire chat in it as well. All right, I think that will be it for today. It's 10:40. Thank you so much to everybody for attending today. Julie, thank you so much for presenting such a tremendous volume of valuable information. There's a ton of tips and tricks in there, and we're all really hoping that, that you've gotten at least 3 key takeaways today that you can use starting right now.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I look forward to hopefully connecting with you through Canopy Media on social media and following along. We are always happy to support other local businesses on social media as well. So yeah, let's connect.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the sunshine if you can.
Take care.
Thanks, guys. That was awesome.
Oh, Tim, you're here. Thank you for hosting us. We really appreciate you having us today.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. That was fantastic. And is anybody left online?
Yeah, there's still 15.
Just in the case anybody can hear me very quickly, just a word of thanks to both Kai and Julie for hosting that phenomenal session. And if anybody has information or resources that they're seeking, just let us know. We'll do our very best to build that content out and put it on and make it available. It doesn't have to relate to digital marketing. It can be anything to do with any element or component of business, particularly in these challenging times. So if you have questions, ideas, suggestions, please let us know. Don't be shy. We're here to try to help and serve the business community best we can.
Right on. Thanks, Tim. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.